that I made up. You say my name like words that I made up. You say my name like.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experience with Vin Diesel?
Worked for him for 18 years, and we had a falling out because he called me the N-word one night. I know things about him that I would not say, but Vin is not a nice guy. I am the one who called him and told him that Paul Walker had passed away, and he told me I was lying. When Vin is out of town, I never got paid. That was a sort of a hardship on me. He let me go without letting me know that, hey, I'm getting rid of you.
What happened to your career?
My career went under. I'm homeless now. I sleep at the airport at night. And it's very hard on me at my age.
If Vin Diesel was going to watch this, what would your message be to him?
Why did you treat me that way? Why did you not tell me that you were going to let me go? After 18 years of working for you, I never said anything bad about you, you know? And at the position I'm in right now, I'm homeless and I'm desperate, and I wish you would call me or give me some help.
This is an interesting story. And it's not interesting because I believe it. I honestly think it's made up. But it shows where we are today. It is the intersection of celebrity gossip, lawsuits, social media myths, and AI technology. So this story has made its rounds across TikTok and a couple other different social media platforms, where it alleges that actor Vin Diesel made some type of racial statement to a gentleman who claims to be his personal driver for 18 years. Now, besides the fact that Vin Diesel is a person who is of mixed race ancestry, is it likely he's going to hurl a racial slur at a driver that he's already firing? I mean, it's not impossible. We live in a world where Kanye West is doing interviews in clan rooms. So it's definitely a possibility, but not a likelihood. Now, Vin Diesel is an actor of mixed race ancestry. He's been somewhat nebulous about who his father is, but in the past he said the pairing between his two parents would have been considered illegal. Well, this isn't true. Loving v. Virginia happened before Vin Diesel was born, but he's an actor, not a historian. The point he's trying to make is that his father was probably of some black ancestry, whether he was a Creole, biracial, who knows. The fact is, he wasn't there. Vin Diesel was born Mark Sinclair. Vin Diesel grew up in a household with himself, 3 siblings, under his mother, Delora Shirlene Vincent, who is of English, German, Scottish, and Irish ancestry, and a father, Irving Vincent, who is a Black American. You probably noticed Vin Diesel's stage name is a tribute to his stepfather. I wanted to highlight this because I feel like that dispels the notion that he has some type of self-hatred. If anything, he was identifying with his blackness a lot more in the earlier stages of his life. Vin Diesel's career began in the early 1990s, and in that time period, there weren't as many roles for people with his phenotype. There were black roles, there were white roles, there were Hispanic roles, but there weren't really roles designed for people who were mixed race. Since there weren't a lot of roles for him, Vin had to take whatever role was available, and usually that meant playing someone who was either Latino or playing someone who was Sicilian. It is interesting that for many years, people thought Vin Diesel was partially Italian. Back in the 90s, Hollywood casters weren't interested in making sure that their actors matched the ethnic background of the characters they were portraying. They were more motivated by the bankability of that actor. And even though the 90s was a renaissance of black cinema, Vin Diesel didn't fit specifically in the category of black, nor did he fit specifically in the category of white. And even taking Latino roles was challenging because he didn't speak Spanish. I happen to be a Vin Diesel fan, and I'm not a fan of a lot of his less sophisticated work like the Fast and Furious series, and definitely not a fan of his performance as Groot because That's not really a performance. That's just him saying Groot over and over. I am, however, a big fan of his performance in the movie A Man Apart. Loved him in Boiler Room. He's done amazing roles, and I think he probably should do more dramatic roles, and a career pivot like that, especially at this stage of his career, could be the smartest thing for him. Since Vin Diesel is in his mid-50s, perhaps he's finally outgrown some of these action roles, and he can fall back on his natural gift of acting.
Are you nuts? Listen to the captain!
I can't see. Reminds me of my niece, sir.
Caparzo, get the kid back up there!
Captain, the decent thing to do is to at least take you down the road to the next town.
We're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to follow fucking orders. Guard, take this goddamn kid! God!
Hold on, Caparzo.
Help me up, I can walk.
Caparzo, stay still!
Il faut surtout pas bouger.
Guys, come over here.
Copy, put your head down. I can't you put your head down.
Copy it. Copy it and send it to Florida.
Copy, you're gonna send it yourself. Put it down. I see it.
blood.
Copy, I see it.
It's to my dad. It's got blood on it.
We got him. Stay down. How bad is it? Chest.
That's why we can't take children. Sergeant Hill. Gather your men. We'll form up in the northwest corner of the square. Jackson, sir. Ellen, check the tower. Hustle back here. Right now, go!
About 20 years ago, I ran across a short film that Vin Diesel wrote, produced, and directed called Multifacial. This short film was basically his experiences of navigating the world of acting on the East Coast in the early 90s, not really fitting specifically in white spaces, black spaces, or Latino spaces.
I've seen this girl for like 3 months already, right? I bring her candies, I bring her flowers, I take her to movies, nice restaurants. I'm treating this girl kind of special, right? And I'm meeting her family, she's meeting my family. I'm about to let her start hanging out with the fellas, which as you know is something you don't do, is a big no-no. Anyhow, one night we go out, right? I picked her up, we go to this restaurant, some restaurant in the village, right? Some Italian place. So what happened? I'm sitting down eating with my girl, and some guy walks in, a real pretty boy, and sits down at the table behind me, right? I mean, come on, you don't know, what's this guy, kidding me or what? Can you believe that motherfucker? So I like, because my girl's like looking at him, right? So I turn around, and he's reading the menu. Come on, what am I, stupid? What, are you reading the menu with me turning around? I get up, I go over to him, I'm like, hey, you got a fucking problem? You looking at my girl? I smack him in the head. He doesn't even say a word to me, like he can't believe I'm about to throw him a beat. The manager starts coming over to me, right? But he's kind of scared. I pick up a Pellegrino bottle off the table. I swear to God, I'm gonna smack him in the head with it. All of us, you're not gonna believe this, I can't even believe this right now. All of a sudden, some faggot out of nowhere, I'm talking about real homo, runs up to the guy I just smacked. He's screaming, oh my God, Richard, stop, please, like a little fairy like this. I'm like, oh shit, what is it? And runs up and hugs this guy I just smacked. And then it comes to me. It wasn't this guy's fault. He's a fucking $3 bill for crying out loud. It's my girl that's the problem, not him. So, like, I'm not a queer or anything, but, you know, I kind of feel bad for the guy. I make money, so what do? I give him $50 to pay for dinner. And then I drag my girl out by her hair, and oh, do I throw her a beat. I mean, when I tell you I made her eyes look like sun-dried tomatoes over here, Marlon. I haven't seen her since, though. She don't call me anymore, that bitch. I don't know what's wrong with her. I think she's kind of, you know. Anyway, what I gotta tell you is, there's no good girls out there.
Mike, can you speak Italian at all?
Yeah, you know, how could you not? Non rompo le mie cogliones, capisci, Marlon?
It's fine. Who's your agent?
Oh yeah, I forgot to write that down. I don't know which agent sent me up. My manager told me about it.
Though Vin feels like he killed the audition, he felt less authentic about the performance.
Where was that monologue from?
Oh, it's a true story. It happened to one of my friends. Yeah, I did the monologue you gave me. Yeah, I told him it was a true story, but couldn't I have been a little less offensive? I mean, they probably think I'm some misogynist, homophobic Guido. Don't worry, they definitely thought I was a Guido. Hey! Yeah, but an attitude like that, definitely not gonna get me a what? Yeah, it's not gonna get me an attitude like that's not gonna get me an Oscar. Joe Pesci's a completely different story. All right. Oh, and you forgot the agent's name. All right.
Most of it was invoking Guido stereotypes and coming off crass and offensive. Whether he gets the role or not isn't that important in this moment. It's the fact that he's being a fraud, and in many ways, being a clown. He's putting on the image of the Italian American like a Halloween costume, and you can tell that he feels bad about the performance. But he's also in a difficult position because he needs the job. The opportunities were far and few, and it's very expensive to live in New York.
What's up, Chief? Man, chillin'? What are you up to, man?
Nothing, man. I just booked this commercial.
No way. Get the fuck out of here. For what?
It's a long-distance telephone company.
No way. I can't fucking believe that. It's a national?
You know it, man.
Come on. I can't fucking believe you, bro. You go on all the auditions.
Yeah, I need the money, man.
Yeah, who don't, man? That's what commercials are made for. Yo, I can't wait till I do enough real work, real acting work, but I don't have to sweat commercials. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see like Pacino doing potato chips or Denzel doing donuts.
Man, as long as I get paid, I don't care what it is.
Oh, yeah? Nah. Yo, I saw you in that music video, man. You trying to be a Mac on me, G.
No, man. How about you?
Oh, man, I just came from this audition, and my manager wanted me to try and play the role. I did this Italian role.
You could do that.
Yeah, but it was a little weird because, like, I did this monologue that was offensive, and it was, like, didn't really feel right. You know what I mean? I was, like, offending people. It didn't really move right.
While auditioning for a Latino role, he mostly kills it, but runs into a wall when he can't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, okay. Come in.
Why can't you get a real job?
Like what?
Yo no sé, pero anything would be better than what you're doing now.
Oh, look who's talking now, huh? Coño, when you first met me, you didn't seem to care. You liked the brand new car. You liked the brand new cars. You liked it when I took you out. And now you to go for that, huh?
Look, that was back then when I was young and didn't have a baby.
Coño, now we do. And my business is our bread and butter. And don't you ever forget that.
Muchacho, ¿por qué no te tiene que vender esa porquería? ¿Ah? You don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I didn't know we needed to speak Spanish in there.
Your parents don't speak Spanish?
No, they don't.
Because you were really good. I saw the way he was looking at you when you were reading.
Come on. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I wish my manager would have told me about the Spanish.
You know what? For a soap right now, there are a couple of parts you'd really be good for.
No.
Physically, he looks the part, does a very good Tony Montana impersonation, but without speaking the language, he's not going to get any roles that are traditionally for men who are Latino. The next audition was for a black role, and in my opinion, he looks the most out of place in this role.
No, but I ain't even trying to hear that, man. It's only 900. Yo, we gonna make colossal look, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, don't try to front on me, nigga.
If you so positive about it, why do I have to book the studio time?
Cause I don't have no money, you know that crazy. If I had the prop funds, I wouldn't be wasting my time with your punk ass, bro.
Thank you. That's good. Thanks.
We'll get back to you. So, what'd you think?
He's everything he said he'd be. But I think we need to go for more of a Wesley type.
Even though with the hip-hop gear on, he looks a little bit like LL Cool J, and you can tell he was tremendously uncomfortable. And not uncomfortable because he was in a black space. It looked like he felt more uncomfortable that he was putting on a stereotypical black performance instead of something that was more authentic or natural. Very similar to the challenge he ran into when he was the Italian American. Performance just came off offensive, and you can see the shame in his face.
Well, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, I have a monologue. I'll just go ahead and do it. When I was a boy, about 5 years old, right before my sister was born, my mother had taken me to see a play that my father was in. A play called The Raisin in the Sun. It was at a little theater at the time called the Henry Street Theater. We had arrived about 10 minutes late, and the employee that inspected our tickets asked if we wouldn't mind sitting in the mezzanine. He said that sitting in our front row reserved seats might disturb the performance. Thinking back, Mother probably only agreed because she was partial to sitting in the mezzanine, especially when watching her husband. My father played the lead, Walter Lee. And I didn't know people could turn into other people. I didn't exactly see it that way. Everything he said, I thought somehow was related to me. There was one part I never forgot. At the end of the play, when the white real estate man comes to give a black family money not to move into his neighborhood, my dad began to speak. And no one moved, no one talked, no one made a single sound. They all listened to him as though he were a saint. He talked about being plain folk, about pride in being plain folk. And he calls a boy over, his son, and says how proud he is of him. And I knew he was really talking about me. For years, I thought he wanted me to act just like him, to be a black actor. Danny Glover, Sidney Poitier, Morgan Freeman, just like my dad. But I was never black enough. My dad died last year. And only then did I realize how ignorant I was. The lack of credit I had given my father. My dad was a black actor. But he wanted me to go one step further. He wanted me to be an actor. Just an actor. That's what he meant when he said proud.
final audition is a monologue where he just shares a story about his father. He wasn't trying to be anyone else. He wasn't trying to be black, white. He was just being himself. In a way, he was opting for a more colorless, colorblind approach. And for those of you who grew up in the 90s, especially if you're a person of color, this is something you probably heard. Lots of television shows never addressed race, or if they did address race, it was for that special episode. In the 90s, if the show wasn't centered around race, then race was rarely addressed or even acknowledged. There were black characters and white characters, but their blackness and their whiteness was never addressed or noticed. The natural question is, what does this have to do with the driver and the claims of being called the N-word? I wanted to go over his history just to say that I don't think that this is in his character.
I remember working on the movie and we had the transpo guys or something, I forget who it was, they were moving stuff off of the truck. And they were all, it was hot. It was really, really hot out. And they're all like dark-skinned black dudes. But the white guys were chilling. And I just remember Vin walking up and he's looking at me. And he was so pissed at this site. I'm not going to say what he said, but
give us a roundabout paraphrase.
Look at how how they're treating black people.
Okay.
They're treating them like black. And
wow.
And he went off. And he put his foot down and was like, this ain't happening on my set. He's like, if one person's working, we all working. You're not gonna sit here and watch them do all this stuff while they're literally busting their asses while you guys are just sitting down there smoking a cigarette watching them. You know, we're trying to get the next shot and you guys are chilling. And he sent somebody over to like have a little talk in their ear, and these guys jump to it, and then Vin just goes, we all work. He goes, we all work. You know.
Yeah.
And that I really took my hat off to him for that, because I didn't even clock that. You know, I clocked it everywhere else I went in South Africa, but I didn't clock it on the set. And I saw that, and I was like, man, that's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Now, not to say that
speaking up.
Yeah, and not to say that was exactly what was going on, but the optics just didn't look right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because that wouldn't happen in a lot of places, and I'm not 100% sure they knew that was their intention.
Yeah.
But he just didn't like the optics of it and was like, no.
In fact, this entire story comes off made up. Why would someone make up a story about Vin Diesel? Well, that's because Vin Diesel is in the middle of a lawsuit.
Vin Diesel may be gearing up for a legal battle. The Fast and Furious star has been sued for sexual battery, wrongful termination, and a hostile work environment by his former assistant, who accuses him in a December 21st filing of groping her in a hotel suite in 2010. E! News has reached out to Diesel's rep for comment but has not heard back. Asa Jonasson says she was hired by his company, One Race, in September 2010 and immediately flew to Atlanta to help him during the filming of Fast 5. Per the lawsuit obtained by E! News, one night Ms. Jonasson was dutifully fulfilling her work duties, including ensuring no photographs were taken of Vin Diesel, who was entertaining multiple women in the Empire Suite of his luxury hotel. Although Vin Diesel had personal security, only Ms. Jonasson remained in the hotel suite so the woman felt more comfortable. Jonasson says that after the last woman left in the early hours of the morning, she was tasked with ushering Diesel out of the hotel without being seen. While alone in the hotel room, she says Diesel sexually assaulted her. The suit continues. Vin Diesel forcibly grabbed Ms. Jonasson, groped her breasts, and kissed her. Ms. Jonasson struggled continually to break free of his grasp while repeatedly saying no. Diesel, now 56, allegedly ignored her complaints and dropped to his knees, pushed her dress up, and attempted to pull down her underwear. The lawsuit states he molested her body, running his hands over Ms. Jonasson's upper legs, including her inner thighs. Terrified for her personal safety, Ms. Jonasson screamed and ran towards the nearby bathroom. The Guardians of the Galaxy actor then allegedly followed her and, quote, pinned her against a wall with his body, and then, quote, grabbed Ms. Jonasson's hand and placed it on his erect penis.
A lot of times when celebrities are in the middle of a lawsuit, you'll hear little random stories pop up in the media. These stories are designed to make the celebrities look awful and sway the public opinion.
Not over the old man, firing the old man. I think, people get hired and fired all the time. I think that racism thing is going to hurt him. And I can see him right now trying to defend it. Well, why would I do that? My mom's black, my grandmother is black, and my sisters and brothers, and I got all of that type of stuff.
And it's very effective. The ultimate goal is to get the celebrity to settle the lawsuit. The lawsuit goes away, and also these random stories stop popping up in the news where you look like an asshole. I also think this story is fake.
Black elderly woman humiliated at the bank. Luckily, Vin Diesel was there. Some stories begin in the most ordinary places, on a regular day, and yet they end up revealing the truest parts of human nature. That was exactly what happened one late afternoon at the First Pacific Bank on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. The bank was packed, long lines stretching from the service counters to the entrance, customers shifting impatiently, checking their watches and whispering frustrated complaints under their breath. The air was heavy with tension, and the employees rushed back and forth, trying to keep up with the chaos. Behind the counter, Brittany Wallace, a young bank teller with tired eyes and an impatient demeanor, typed away at her computer. She had been at her job long enough to know which customers mattered and which ones didn't. And she had already decided that the older woman standing in front of her was not one that deserved much attention. Linda Carter, a 73-year-old retired school teacher, stood quietly, clutching an envelope in her slightly trembling hands. She had always been independent, never one to ask for favors or handouts. But today, she had come seeking answers. She had noticed unexpected fees deducted from her account, small amounts, but enough to make a difference in her already tight monthly budget. Living on a fixed pension, every dollar mattered. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, trying to keep her voice steady. "Good afternoon," she said politely. "I believe there's been a mistake in my account. I've been charged fees I wasn't informed about." Brittany barely looked up, her fingers still tapping at her keyboard. "Those are standard account maintenance fees, ma'am," she replied flatly. Linda hesitated, holding out her receipt. "But I've had this account for years, and I've never had these charges before." Brittany sighed dramatically, finally glancing at her with clear annoyance. She grabbed the envelope from Linda's hands, flipped through the papers half-heartedly, and then shoved them back toward her. "It's in the fine print of your agreement. If you didn't read it, that's not our fault." Linda blinked, taken aback. Brittany rolled her eyes, loud enough that a few people in line chuckled quietly. Linda felt her cheeks warm with embarrassment. "Look," Brittany continued with an exaggerated smirk, "if you want to avoid fees, you need to keep more money in your account. That's how banks work, ma'am." The public humiliation had begun. Linda's throat tightened. She wasn't trying to argue. She just wanted fairness. She had been a loyal customer for decades. But as she looked around, she noticed how no one was willing to meet her eyes. The same strangers who had been loudly complaining about their own long wait times were now suddenly indifferent to her struggle. Were instant. Vin Diesel, yes, that Vin Diesel, the Fast and Furious star, the action legend. The man who had played some of the toughest, most fearless characters on screen. And now, he was standing in the middle of the bank, staring Carl Jensen down. Carl's confident stance faltered. "Mr. Diesel, Vin raised a hand slightly, cutting him off. His voice was calm, but firm. "It doesn't matter who I am," he said. "What matters is why you're treating this woman like this." Linda turned to Vin, eyes wide with disbelief. Carl cleared his throat, scrambling to regain control. "Sir, this is none of your business. We have policies in place, and this lady doesn't meet the requirements." Vin tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable. Then, with a slow, knowing smile, he asked, "Policies? Or an excuse to humiliate someone who's just asking for fairness?"
Randomly, another viral story about Vin Diesel pops up where he's saving some nameless black woman in the bank. See, you can tell this story is fake because the woman is nameless, the bank is nameless, but we know who Vin Diesel is. When you look at this video, it has over 400,000 views. And when you go to the comment section, nobody points out that this video is AI generated. Nobody brings up the fact that there's no citations and no other blogs or no news organizations have reported on this story, just TikTok and YouTube. I suspect this is Vin Diesel's team trying to get some positive publicity out there for him, but it just goes to show you, Hollywood is a big mirage. And they'll use the media to try to confuse the public. At the end of the day, whether Vin Diesel settles this lawsuit or not, one thing I know for a fact is Vin Diesel is not anti-black, and more than likely did not call this man the N-word. And if he did, what type of context did he use? And the guy's story doesn't make a lot of sense because if Vin Diesel wanted him fired, he would just have his assistant do it. Most drivers are hired through their assistants or their management team, never the celebrity directly. This can be some random homeless man at a train station, and then bringing up Paul Walker, that's some nasty work right there.